Welcome, everybody. We're a little bit late getting started here, so we're going to get this show on the road, the program started. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to come out. I am Paul Gilliam. I'm the Clinton Township Supervisor, but I was also the former treasurer and had the privilege of working on this program and being one of its committee members. And so to my left here, I have many of the committee members that worked so diligently on this project to make this day a reality. And to my right, I've got some of our speakers. And so we're going to try to do this as quickly as we can because we know everybody wants to get in there and play or work out or do the great things that this park affords us. This project for me has been a true passion for nearly 5 years. What you see before you is an example of how government is supposed to work. It all started with a Clinton Township mom who sent a letter to township officials advocating for us to take on this project. That led to a little bit of research where we discovered that while Clinton Township is roughly 11% of the Macomb County population, we have nearly 25% of the county's population where someone in the family has a disability. So what that prompted, it begged the question, what are we doing to serve all of the families within Clinton Township? So I called that mom and set up a meeting to learn more about inclusive play. I was impressed with the passion that she displayed advocating for this concept, and I was moved by her description of the challenges faced by parents in raising children with special needs. So the offer that I made to her was this: I'll bring this issue to the Board of Trustees and advocate for the creation of a committee to make this happen if she would agree to chair the committee. It was becoming apparent the size and Herculean effort that was going to be required to make this project a reality. And so I knew that it needed to be driven by someone who lived this experience, by someone who understood the challenges, and by someone who could convey what this means for special needs families. It needed a mom to chair the committee. So that passion was conveyed when the Board of Trustees approved forming the committee and when all of these people were recruited to serve on the committee, and when committee members met with our legislators, and when fundraisers were planned and organized. All of that passion came through from so many of these folks. And so what you see before you is the culmination of these efforts by so many people who stepped up to make it happen. Let me just real quickly introduce my board members that are here. Kim Meltzer, our clerk. Dan Kress, one of our trustees. Shannon King, who is a trustee. Bruce Wade, as well as Julie Matuzik, all here to support this great grand opening and ribbon cutting. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Bob Cannon, who was the supervisor for most of the time we were working on this. Let's hear it for Bob Cannon, former supervisor of Clinton Township.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you to all who participated, no matter what you did, raising money, cutting grass, laying out the park, supporting in one way or another. There were a lot of people who really didn't want this because it's a lot of work and a lot of money. There were a lot of people who didn't think it would happen. We did. I know that Paul provided a lot of leadership. I know that many of you provided leadership. And the state of Michigan and the people who are going to speak in a minute provided about $1 million. That's when I knew it was going to be completed. Two people I'd like to point out. Paul mentioned the ISD. Mike DeVault has run that place. Unbelievable all these years. Under the radar, and that's why we have such a great program here in Macomb County and Clinton Township. And also to a lady who I used to be an enemy of back about 55 years ago when we coached Little League against each other, Marilyn Whitsitt. She came to us a couple years ago and asked if she could build some ball fields for special need people in Clinton Township. We have 2 now in Clinton Township because the smaller one that the kids started on got too small for those kids, and she had to put a big one in, and she raised the money to get those 2 ball fields put in. They're very special for here in Clinton Township, and that's why this is just one more step beyond that. When I was first elected in 1984, this field out here was only used for flag football. Now, I like flag football, but take a look at what's going on to this property right now. There was a time before Mark Hackle that the county wanted to put a road in starting at 18 Mile on the other side over there and bring it right through the property, right through where the library is right now, right through the condominiums, and go over to Cass Avenue. And our board voted 6-1, I was the one, to grant them $1 million out of our account to do that. I got the neighbors all riled up because I didn't want a road coming through their subdivisions, and I didn't want a road coming through our civic center. And sooner or later, the rest of the board voted not to allow that road to go in. So we took that $1 million and started our IT program here in the community. The county did want to extend the road, and it might have made some sense, but it didn't make sense to take away all this beautiful property that now became the library. And by the way, the township board right after that gave the library, which wasn't in existence at the time, the property so that when they had an opportunity to build a library, they would certainly consider putting it on the property that they owned. And it worked out just perfect. Since that time, we had a lot of grants for the gazebo, for the washrooms right here. And we had a trustee a year or 2 ago, maybe 3 years ago, Ken Pearl, who decided we needed a splash pad. And what better to have a splash pad right next to a playground that everybody can go play and then go in the splash pad. And the library is going to have some special programs this summer for the children that are going to use this facility. So with that, I thank you all. Continue to support Clinton Township. Continue to support people that need the support. And thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much. So Bob mentioned this, but as we started this project, it had a price tag. And as we went on and on and on, the price went up and up and up. And so we knew that we needed big infusions of money. This wasn't going to be done just with residents coming to small dollar fundraisers. And so that's when the committee members went to our legislators to say, can you help us with this? We know there are grants, we know there are things available. And so I'm gonna bring up those legislators right now because, as Bob said, they stepped up in a huge way, getting $1 million to make this project a reality. Denise and Senator Kleinfeld and Representative Aragona. I said Denise, Representative Menser, excuse me. Let's hear it for these legislators that stepped up.
So when I first met with Anne Marie and Justin, I was so impressed with their vision, with the dream that they had to include everyone in play. And I was really happy with the support of Joe and Veronica to be able to push for that money, for $1 million for this playground. So right, I have, and I'm going to read it, I have a tribute signed by the governor in honor of the playground. Let it be known that it was with great pride and appreciation that we offer this tribute in celebration of the ribbon cutting for Clinton Township's inclusive playground. On this special occasion, we recognize the outstanding vision, leadership, and collaboration that made this transformative project a reality. The inclusive playground reflects the township's deep commitment to ensuring that every resident, regardless of ability, has access to recreational places that foster joy, connection, and community. Clinton Township understood that play is a vital part of childhood development and social connection, and that no child or family should be left on the sidelines. With that commitment to inclusivity as its foundation, Clinton Township brought together citizens, school districts, service organizations, and advocacy groups to build not only a playground, but a place where everyone belongs. This vision was further strengthened by the successful effort to obtain state funds, securing $1 million to help fund the project. Through strong partnerships with local, state, and community stakeholders, Clinton Township demonstrated that when people come together with a shared purpose, remarkable things can happen. We are proud to have played a role in securing this critical funding, which has directly contributed to the realization of a playground designed with universal accessibility in mind. This inclusive play space features equipment and design elements that ensure children of all abilities can play side by side, offering opportunities for physical activity, imaginative play, and social interaction in a safe and supportive environment. Beyond the equipment, this playground is a place where lifelong memories will be made, where families can find connection and joy, and where the values of empathy, understanding, and inclusion are brought to life each and every day. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to honor Clinton Township and celebrate the ribbon cutting for the inclusive playground. By investing in inclusive play, the township has not only created a beautiful and accessible playground, but has also sent a powerful message about the importance of equity and belonging in public spaces. This project enhances the quality of life with people with disabilities, their families, and the entire community, and will continue to foster a spirit of unity, inclusion, and pride for many years to come. It is signed by our Governor, Gretchen Whitmer. It is signed by Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, Senator Veronica Kleinfeld, Senator Kevin Hertel, State Representative Joe Aragona, and myself. And I will now present it to Paul.
All right, thank you everybody for being here. I just want to step up and say a couple of quick words. I was actually on the board when the Inclusive Playground Committee started, and I thought it was an absolutely fantastic idea. There was a phrase in here, I believe it said, of all access levels. If there's a child who is in peak performance, if there's a child with disabilities, they can play together. How beautiful is that? I thought this was a fantastic idea, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who really put in yeoman's work. I know Paul displayed a lot of leadership on this committee over, how many years has it been? 5 years. That's been a lot. And there's a couple of members of the committee I really want to point out. My constituent director, Kerry Jantz, he's always great at raising funds, which this definitely took a lot of funds, so he was stepping up. And Stephanie Middlestead. Unfortunately, Clinton Township lost Stephanie to Harrison Township, but she's still on the committee. She's always been doing a great job. Yes, boo. Thank you, Paul. Boo that. Boo. But she was always doing yeoman's work throughout her days here in Clinton Township. So I just want to say thank you to you two in particular, and thank you all for your support.
First of all, can we just say hats off to this playground committee and give them a round of applause? You know, as politicians, we have to do fundraisers, and I stress so much about doing fundraisers. And these folks are doing fundraisers and doing fundraisers and doing fundraisers, and as everybody said, you raise money and the costs go up, especially with regard to construction. They're just going up and up and up, and you think you're getting there, and then you get knocked back. And for me, I see so much money spent at the state and federal level on something that you might have for a year, and then it's gone, and everybody just misses it. And I'm real big on building things that people can enjoy for generations. And look at what they've done and how stunning this facility and this playground is. I think you did an absolutely beautiful job in putting it together and getting everything done, and I just want to congratulate you. Thank you.
Let's hear it for those legislators. All right. So one of the things we also did in order to compete for grant dollars and things like that is we tried to make this not just a place for kids, but a place where we knew that adults would be able to use. And so we created a workout area, a circuit training area, where if you're bringing a child to the playground, you can utilize this facility too. And that was really, I see Stephanie shaking her head. That was one of her big ideas, and it came to fruition. And so when we speak out of workout areas, who do we think of in Macomb County other than Mark Hackle? So, Mark, come on up.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks again. You know what? If you just everybody a moment of silence, right? And listen to all these politicians. Just take this in for a second. Listen, just listen for a second. Think about that when you were a kid. That was the most exciting thing with the playgrounds. The places you got to kind of enjoy one another growing up and getting to kind of play with other kids. And what they created here in Clinton Township is something that is long overdue. It's an opportunity for all kids to play together. And for those that had this vision and understanding, you know, that we need to figure out how do we make it so it's available to all, I'm going to tell you, a lot of that comes from the work that we do here in Macomb County through our ISD. I mean, we've talked about Mike DeVault and our ISD. What an incredible asset we have. And it's a reason why families come to Macomb County, because they know they're going to be welcomed, no matter who they are, no matter what their abilities are. They're going to have a chance to thrive here in Macomb County. And Clinton Township is the epicenter of that. And so with that, seeing what Bob Cannon, obviously Paul Gillingham, that transfer of responsibility, seeing this through here in Clinton Township is an incredible asset, not only to Clinton Township, but once again, a testament to what Macomb County is all about in that inclusive nature. Because really, I think Veronica mentioned it, she talked about it. You know, this is a tremendous asset that I think is something that the legislator is proud when they go to Lansing and ask for money for something that's going to be sustainable, something that we're going to look at. It's one of those things they truly feel committed to, and they're proud of the work that they did on our behalf. So thank you to everyone for creating what we have here. For those that are on that playground right now and those that will be on that playground in the future that can work together, have fun together, and enjoy one another. Now, if you don't mind, I got to get to my workout. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
So as I mentioned, this would not have happened without the community, and it wouldn't have happened without organizational partners that wanted to help us. And so Christy Courtney is a representative of ARC Services of Macomb, and this is a group that served as our fiduciary, so we could help compete for grants with their 501c3 designation. And so they were with us every step of the way, and I want to turn it over to say a few words. Christy Courtney.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting us today. The ARC of Macomb County is all about inclusion. It's really important to us that all people are included. So when Anne Marie, who was still at that time working for the ARC of Macomb County, approached our executive director, Lisa Lapine, about being a part of this project, of course we were on board. So from little drive-in movie fundraisers to $1.4 million for a playground, we have been very, very proud to be a part of this process. And watching all these kids out here today play, they're learning that inclusion of all people is important. And that's something that they're going to carry through their whole lives, so that when they're adults, inclusion's going to be important. And in their communities, inclusion's going to be important. So as the largest advocacy organization for people with disabilities in Macomb County, serving over 600 families and individuals every month, we are really proud of this, to be a part of this, and we're really proud of your committee. So congratulations, everyone.
So the next speaker I want to bring up is Justin Michalik, who is the Assistant Superintendent of the ISD. A lot has been mentioned about Mike DeVault and the great work that the ISD does throughout our community, but Justin served as the Vice Chair of this project, and I want to speak about one thing here real quick. So it was the people on the committee and people like Justin who work with kids with disabilities, adults with disabilities all the time, and we know that some are nonverbal. And so the ISD has a system of storyboards that basically people can point to when they're nonverbal and say, I'm hungry, I want to go, I'm tired, you know, those. So when we designed this playground, We built that same system in. The ISD paid for those boards, and it's a system that we know kids are going to be familiar with here. So with that, thank you, Justin, for providing that type of input and that type of leadership. Come on up here.
All right, thank you, Paul. By far, it's not me. I'm very fortunate to work with Mr. DeVault, who allows us to do what we need to do for the community. I will tell you, Macomb County and Clinton Township is so unique. As I'm listening to everyone, this is what I hear. They advocate, they come together, and they fight for the needs for their community, from the community to families to students, and look what we have now. Again, we hear the noises behind. You don't want to hear me, you want to hear them. But picture this this is a school day. We have buses in the parking lot. We have communities throughout the county that are already trying to get onto this playground for field trips, because it's all about coming together. Now picture it on a weekend. You have moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, kids all coming together of all abilities, enjoying themselves the whole time, like all of us did as we were kids. Heck, I'm 48 years old and I still like getting on a swing. But it's just amazing, and I am so unbelievably proud and honored that Anne Marie called me after she said what was happening. Hey, Justin, you're getting on this committee. Okay, couldn't tell her no. And to work with the group behind me. It is just unbelievable, and we are so fortunate to have leaders in this county and leaders on this committee to be able to do great things, doing the best of what communities are supposed to do. Service all people, all abilities, and this is just a tremendous place, and I can't thank Clinton Township enough, from their splash pad to the museum to the trails back there, the ball fields. This is just such a great place for kids and families. So Paul, Anne Marie, Bob, everyone, thank you.
All right. I started out talking about the inspiration behind this was a mom from Clinton Township. You now get to meet that mom. The chair of our committee, the driving force behind so much of this, Anne Marie Otoy.
Oh my goodness. Okay, for many of us standing in front of you today, this journey started, depends on who you talk to, 5 to 6 years ago. I wrote a letter to the township posing the concept of an inclusive playground. And Paul, as he likes to tell the story, as he did earlier, is he agreed that this is something that the township needed, as long as I would chair it. And clearly I did, because here we are today. However, for me, this journey started about 23 years ago, when I realized that my son stopped hitting his developmental milestones. That's when the light started fading from my family's world, and we began a decades-long journey of doing everything in our power to help him achieve the best life possible. This included physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. It included gastroenterologists, cardiologists, neurologists, CT scans, MRI scans. We saw caseworkers, social workers, community mental health workers. We hired countless direct support professionals to help us in the home, help him. We became involved in the early on education program with the Macomb Intermediate School District, eventually transitioning to the special education, where we learned about individual education plans. We learned about goals, what's in a goal, and how to measure a goal. It was mentally and emotionally exhausting and left little time for something every child and their family deserves: fun. A chance to be outside, running, swinging, spinning, playing with friends, or having the chance to make friends. Sorry. For parents, family members, and caregivers to connect and understand that they are not alone and that there is such a thing as community. These are the things that would have made a tremendous difference in the life of our family, helping us navigate the loneliness and solitude that often comes with raising a child with disabilities. People often ask me if I would change anything, if I would change Zachary, if I had the chance. Some people phrase it less kindly than that. My answer? I would change some things, absolutely. It would be amazing if he had some better daily living skills, and honestly, I would give almost anything to hear the sound of his voice. One thing I wouldn't change: the amazing people I have met along the way. The kindness, empathy, and dedication of countless doctors, nurses, therapists, social workers, mental health workers. They have lifted us up in so many ways. And I would not trade this experience working with these incredible people who stepped forward to be a member of this committee. the Inclusive Playground Pals, people like Martina Pardue, another parent, others who have dedicated their lives to working with individuals with disabilities, such as Marilyn Whitstock, Tara Koch, who's not here, and Paul Sasson. I'm not sure if Paul's here. Still others who recognize the need and offered their time and help. Carrie Jantz, Stephanie Middlestedt, Ken Pearl, and Mike Scott. I'm deeply grateful to Justin Mahalik for agreeing to co-chair and offering his extensive knowledge, resources, and care for the disability community. And thank you, Public Services Director Mary Bednar, who immediately understood the value this playground would add to the community. She and her staff, including Brett Middlestedt, provided crucial support in logistics and planning. I cannot forget to thank the ARC of Macomb County and Executive Director Lisa Lapine for supporting the project from the beginning, offering their time and talent at every turn, as well as former Clinton Township Supervisor Bob Cannon and both past and present members of the Clinton Township Board. Let's not forget our legislators, Representative Menser, Senator Kleinfeld, and Representative Aragona for securing the grant money that made this possible. I will never forget the day Paul called me and told me that we had won $1 million grant. Never. I almost passed out, actually. Speaking of Paul, thank you for reading my letter and seeing the potential in this project, for understanding that the fabric of our community is made stronger by celebrating its diversity, right? By lifting one another up through the simple joys of a playground and the sound of laughter. Lastly, my family. My husband, Paul, is here with Zachary. He's sitting front row with his headphones and iPad, so he's super happy. My daughter's away at college, and Adrian, looking forward to her graduation, so she's unable to be here today. In closing, I'm so grateful to have been a part of this, to experience the overwhelming support for the disability community. Once again, Zachary is showing me that there is so much more to the world than my little corner of it. Thank you, Zachary.
Inspiring stuff, isn't it? I couldn't have been prouder to be a part of this project. Just not for the hours of fun it will produce for all of our families in Clinton Township, regardless of their ability, but also because what it represents. A shining example of the great things that can be accomplished when a dedicated team of community-minded activists put their vision into action, recognition of the thoughtfulness and compassion that our community displayed towards one another. And it's an attraction that will draw families to Clinton Township from neighborhoods, towns all across the state. Two things I want to mention. Need to thank the guys from Michigan Recreational Construction who made this happen by putting their hands and their tools and their skills to work getting this built. And so with that, come on up, everybody. Get these families up here. Let's cut this ribbon. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for being a part of it, and for all the work that's been done.